And it is sad to think that, what they saw as this adventurous moment to experience surfing in this beautiful beach town ended up, losing their lives as a result of it.
An Instagram worthy vacation ends in tragedy when a California man and two of his friends are brutally murdered while on a surfing trip.
And Mexico is really beautiful by these beaches, and the surfing there is so amazing that people are kind of willing to do it, even if parts of Mexico you know not to go into because the drug cartel is so bad. They're still very much willing to go into specific areas.
What started as a missing persons investigation quickly escalated, with investigators now revealing a puzzling motive in the triple homicide.
I'm not gonna lie, y'all. I'm not gonna lie. That's why I don't be fucking partying in Mexico, bro. Like, nigga, if you ain't Mexican, bro, and if you're not around a bunch of other Mexicans, like at the time, man, they take your ass is done with, my nigga. You out back, bro. You cooked, bro. You cooked. You're done. You're done, bro. Like the only times I've ever gone to Mexico, bro, is with like Mexican homies and like other like Mexican family or some shit like that. It's like, bro, you ain't never gonna go to Mexico just with some white friends or some other black dudes. And like, nah, fuck that, bro. If I'm going to Mexico, I'm going with some motherfuckers that know the area, bro. Like, nigga, when I went there, bro, I went with some homies. Oh man, I mean, I didn't go with some homies. I went with like, it was my ex at the time. It's her family too, and they're Mexican. But we went to a fucking dirty ass like savage part of Mexico, nigga, and I was just like nigga, we was in the slums, nigga. They had like fucking had like stray dogs walking around, nigga. It's almost like nigga, Family Guy. That episode of Family Guy where they're in like, or no, I think it's like either Family Guy or American Dad, but it's like fucking, they're like in some fucking other country, and there's like a fucking dog walking around with a gun, just like like ready to shoot some shit. Like it's like shit like that, nigga. It's like the strays walking around like that, like looking like, oh damn, the stray about to pull out a fucking gun on me, nigga. Like, but nah, it was cool, nigga. Honestly, I think we went down there and fucking smuggled some meth back or some shit. I don't know. Allegedly. I had no idea what was going on. And, we went to the slums though. We went to the slums. So. Let me stop yapping, bro.
But it's not that unusual to maybe think of how that is, because if you have, again, a weapon, a gun, those kind of situations can escalate very quickly, can become very dangerous.
All this just weeks before one victim was set to be married.
They had their life cut short. It's very, very tragic.
Three men went along for the trip: brothers Jack and Callum Robinson and their friend Jack.
Yeah. Man, you guys are too white to be going to Mexico. Just the three of you guys. Like, come on, bro. What are you thinking? Man.
Jack Carter Road. The Robinson brothers are from Australia, but Callum moved to the States.
Oh, man, they're fucking Australian too. I love Australians, my Australians. I love you guys. I love my Australians, my New Zealanders, all y'all motherfuckers that live on islands that are crazy wild motherfuckers. I love you guys, bro. I love you guys, but stay safe out there, man. Stay safe. Y'all niggas are definitely some real fucking like tough ass motherfuckers. Like people from Australia, I know are pretty fucking tough. At least all the people I've met. But it's like, yo, motherfuckers got guns. Motherfuckers will end your life just for no reason, bro. Like, got to stay safe. You're not gonna have a good time.
In college when he played lacrosse at Stevenson University. While Jack Robinson was based out of Victoria, Australia, both Callum and Jack Carter Road were living in San Diego. That brings us to their spring surfing trip, spent in Baja, California, along the Pacific Ocean in western Mexico. Callum posted multiple photos of the trip to his Instagram, showing the group surfing, enjoying the beach, and listening to music. But then on April 27th, the group went radio silent. The real red flags came when the trio failed to show up for their Airbnb reservations in Rosarito. As attorney and legal analyst Dina Seidel explains, one of the victims' mothers first sounded the alarm.
I mean, honestly, the first step in this situation was the mother put it on a Facebook, trying to say, hey, I can't find my sons, and she was hoping that maybe fellow surfers in the area would know more about why they didn't check into their Airbnb. And after that point, you have to start involving the authorities, not only the Mexican authorities, but because one of them is an American, the U.S. authorities got involved, and I'm sure she also asked for the Australian ambassador in Mexico to get involved to help coordinate the investigation of what exactly, where they were. You know, they didn't know yet if they were still alive or not, to try to find out details and try to find them.
Dina says the involvement of American and Australian authorities probably expedited the search.
If anything, it probably helped the investigation because you had that many more resources at their disposal. I mean, obviously, I would think because of the close connection the U.S. already has to Mexico, not only physically close, but the many alliances the two countries had, that the U.S. probably had more resources to give to the investigation. But I think it's only helpful to have the Australian ambassador and any Australian resources to kind of aid with that investigation as well. According to reports, the FBI was involved in the investigation, and that is not uncommon. We've seen any time, because we have seen situations in the past where Americans have been involved in kidnappings or murders in Mexico, and the FBI does get involved because you're a U.S. citizen, and again, because of the proximity to the physical U.S. borders, it makes it much easier for the FBI to be involved, and because of the alliances between the two countries, Mexico allows for the FBI to kind of cross into its borders and aid the investigation. And so we saw that happen. The FBI definitely was involved in the searching for these men in the beginning.
And what do we think the investigation would look like? Going through cell phone data to see where their phones last pinged or last text messaged?
And I think that was quite helpful to them, because if they didn't know when they were supposed to check in, they wouldn't have known when they got missing. And it's true that the bodies were already starting to decompose when they found them. So if much longer
starting to decompose,
it might have been.
So they've been missing for a minute then. I mean, Mexico is pretty hot, so you know it probably was a pretty fast decomposition, just like from the heat out there and probably elements or some shit. But yeah, like that, they had to be out there. They had to be missing for like a month, for like a good couple weeks to a month at least. Like
even harder to locate them, and so it was, I think, as it turned out, very helpful that these men had communicated with their families so much detail about their trip.
But the search for the men ended in tragedy when their bodies were discovered in a well about 50 feet underground. Along with them, a fourth body that had already begun decomposing. Mexican authorities say the well was in a rural area that was difficult to get to. It took first responders multiple hours to recover the bodies. Investigators are now revealing the motive in their murders, and it's not what you'd expect. And if we fast forward to when the bodies are recovered in kind of a rural area, dropped down a well, and investigators determined they had been shot.
Dropped down a well?
But they also talked about a motive.
So I wonder how they found them. Did they like just smell that shit from the well or something? Like, that's crazy.
In the case that the three suspects had wanted the tires off the vehicle that the three surfers had been driving. What do you make of that reason to shoot and murder three people?
It's so tragic, and something that
wait, what happened?
The vehicle, they had been shot and killed. But they also talked about a motive in the case, that the three suspects had wanted the tires off the vehicle that the three surfers had been driving. What do you make of that reason to shoot and murder?
Am I stupid? Or what did she say?
And it's not what you'd expect. And if we fast forward to when the bodies are recovered in kind of a rural area, dropped down a well, and investigators determined they had been shot and killed. But they also talked about a motive in the case, that the three suspects had wanted the tires off the vehicle that the three...
Said one of the three suspects had one of the tires off of the vehicle.
Three surfers had been driving. What do you make of that reason to shoot and murder 3 people?
Okay. So what she's saying, she basically said one of the suspects had one of the tires from the vehicle that the surfers were driving, and that is the reason for the suspect to kill the 3 surfers? Am I stupid? Or, like, this makes no sense to me. What the fuck is she even saying right now? This bitch actually, like, okay? Or is she, like, did she just read a typo right now?
They also talked about a motive in the case, that the 3 suspects had one of the tires off the vehicle that the 3 surfers had been driving. What do you make of that reason to shoot and murder 3 people?
Yeah, that makes no fucking sense. One of the 3 suspects had one of the tires off of the vehicle that the 3 surfers were driving. So that's why the suspects killed the surfers, because the suspects had a tire from their vehicle. What? Maybe that's like, it's not a motive. Like, maybe that's like a fucking evidence that they are the suspect, but not motive. Like, that's evidence saying that, oh yeah, you have one of their tires, so hey, you probably killed these motherfuckers. But that's not like a motive. Like, what the fuck? What are they even saying? That's not a motive to kill. Like, I think either I'm stupid. Like, please leave a comment in the comment section. Let me know if I'm stupid or if this just doesn't make any fucking sense what she just said. Because to me, it doesn't make any fucking sense what she just said.
It's so tragic, and something that.
See, and then she's not even gonna not even gonna address it. She just moves on to something else.
We have seen, unfortunately, before. I mean, you hear of situations where somebody is trying to steal somebody's purse, and that ends up escalating into being shot. It's kind of that situation where whenever there's like a weapon involved, right, from the assailants, it could escalate really quickly. And you're right that it sounded like not only was it supposed to be a carjacking, but specifically the tires is what these suspects allegedly wanted. And the men were resisting in some way, and that escalated. And obviously we weren't here to see exactly how, but it's not that unusual to maybe think of how that is, because if you have, again, a weapon, a gun, those kind of situations can escalate very quickly, can become very dangerous, and it is so tragic. It sounds like each of them were shot in their head. So not even like they were running away or, so it was, it's an intentional killing.
It's like actual execution style.
Very, very tragic.
3 suspects are now in custody. Brothers Christian Alejandro Garcia, Jesus Gerardo Garcia Cota, and Jesus' wife, Ari Giselle Garcia Cota. Authorities say their motive was the tires on the vehicle the 3 tourists were driving. According to investigators, it appears that the brothers and their friend resisted the carjacking, and it ended in their murders. How did they come to the determination that these 3 surfers were killed for this reason? Could it have been confessions by the suspects, or just by raw evidence that they're finding there?
I think the detail that we're getting, the fact that it was for the tires specifically, I don't see how they could have gotten that any other way than from one of those suspects. And it, there was evidently, the suspects are 2 men, 1 woman, and 1.
All right. So I don't feel like this is just a normal ass carjacking, bro. Like, I don't know, man. Unless they really were just like in the fucking trenches and shit, and just you didn't give a fuck. But nah, I don't think this is a normal carjacking. I think they're like a part of something, some sort of organization. I'm not gonna say what organization, some sort of organization, and I feel like they probably were disrespected by the three surfers, and decided to act out on it. You feel me? So I think it's not just a normal ass carjacking, bro. That sounds like some American spin on it. That to make it sound, more of like more bad for the victims, because obviously there's an American victim, 2 Australians, and an American victim, and I'm not victim blaming. I'm not victim blaming at all. I'm not trying to be a fucking bad guy or a dickhead, but shit like that happens, bro. A lot of times people will be disrespectful to certain organization members, and those certain organization members will come back at you and retaliate. So if you're in other countries, make sure to be respectful to everybody, man. Everybody.
One of the two men has a history of violence and arrests, and so you could maybe conceive of a scenario where possibly the woman was less involved or the other man was less involved, and one of them is cooperating and giving more details. It does seem like one of them has to be cooperating for them to get such specific. I mean, we could all guess that there was maybe a carjacking involved. The fact that both the car and them went missing at the same time and nothing else was stolen. But the tires, the details about the tires, seems to have come from only one of those three.
This is a Law and Crime legal alert. Google Incognito tracked user truck and some of the victims' news. About 4 miles from the well, investigators found abandoned tents, a burned-up pickup truck, and some of the victims' phones. Investigators also say Ari Giselle Garcia Cota had one of the victims' phones when she was arrested. And if we're talking about the suspects, the female suspect in this situation, some of the reports I've seen show that she had one of the victims' cell phones with her when she had been arrested or detained. How is that something that she would be able to combat? Why else would she have this murdered surfer's cell phone?
Yeah, if that reporting turns out to be correct, it's a very surprising detail why she would keep and hold on to that kind of.
Well, I mean, fucking her husband could have just been like, "Hey, babe, hold on to this for me." Like, just the phone, don't ask me no questions. Like, you don't know what's going on, bro. There's a lot of shit that could be going on, man. A lot of shit that nobody even, that, obviously the fucking news isn't going to think of because they're fucking all brainless idiots. But
I think I also heard that one of the cell phones was burned, which seems more likely that you would want to dispose of it, because that's very incriminating evidence, and also a way to frankly locate the suspects, because it's not that hard to try to find out the location of cell phones these days, especially because I'm sure the family members would have helped in any way to help them give the passwords to the investigations of these cell phones. So it's possible in that kind of a situation. I mean, it's really only...
You must be the Australian brothers right there. R.I.P. R.I.P.
You're kind of trying to guess how somebody is thinking, but maybe she didn't realize she still had it, or she was kind of not okay with how things developed, and she wanted this because she was planning on turning the other two in. It's hard to say, but that could be why, if she were the one who was corroborating, because they had such strong evidence against her.
We mentioned a fourth body recovered in the well, along with the
fourth body
on Jack Carter Road. Authorities believe the decomposed remains belonged to a rancher who'd been reported missing 2 weeks earlier. Investigators also say the rancher owned the property where they found the well, and the suspects had likely visited it before the three tourists were.
Yeah, they probably murked that nigga, threw his body in the well, and probably been doing some illegal ass shit over there. And, now these tourists happen to come across them while they're vacationing in Mexico. Some random shit happens. I wasn't there. I don't know what the fuck happened, but speculating, they got disrespected in some way. From what I'm saying, I'm not even saying that the fucking victims even actually did something to disrespect them. You know, motherfuckers like this could just feel disrespect in any type of, from anything. You know, you could give them a compliment and they'll be like, the fuck you say? I gotta kill you now. It's like, no, nigga, what if I complimented you? What the what? But no, it's like, yeah, I feel like maybe they got disrespected in some sort of way. We're like, nah, follow these motherfuckers. They're gonna pay. And they ended up in that well too. Working for a certain criminal organization. But I'm not gonna say which one.
Were recovered. Another interesting aspect of this case is when these 3 men were recovered down in that well, a 4th body was recovered there as well. Investigators say that it had been decomposing for longer, and I believe they determined it was a rancher whose property was in the area. How does this connect to the case at all?
It's very interesting because possibly one of those 3 people are connected with that 4th body. How did they know that well was there? Why did they think that was a good place to dispose of a body, except for the fact that they had done it before? I mean, that's the most likely scenario.
Yeah.
That one of those 3 are connected with those 4th, or
it really does make the most sense.
Known as, you know, a place where that is isolated and a good place to hide, and maybe they knew of the person who is connected with the 4th body. But I don't think it's a complete coincidence that these 3 bodies happen to be disposed of at the same place, a 4th one. Because, they were either connected to it, or they probably knew somebody who was connected to that one.
And while it hasn't been confirmed yet, organized crime could be involved in the murders.
I mean, cartel violence, as we know, has been escalating in Mexico. We saw it in the tourist destinations like Cancun and Tulum a few years ago, which was kind of shocking there. And then here we have it in this Ensenada, this tourist surfer town. To have any violence there is also very surprising. As of now, there isn't any known connection to the cartel with one of these 3. It's possible that might come out, but it's also possible that when you have like such a dysfunctional governing entity as the Mexican government is right now, that they can't control the cartel violence, it just allows for more violence in general, allows for more vigilante type violence, even if it's not part of any organized criminal organization.
You mentioned how this area is somewhat of a tourist destination, which is why they were there, to go surfing. Should this deter other people from vacationing to areas like this, that violent crime could be on the rise?
Hell motherfucking yeah. What? But hey honey. Oh, hey, remember that spot in Mexico where those three surfers got murdered and their bodies got dumped in a well? Yeah, let's go over there. Let's vacation over there. Let's go surfing. Yeah.
I think that it always does. I mean, I'm here in Los Angeles. I know people who have driven down there to go surfing for years. It's very
nigga, we in LA. There's so many people that fucking that used to come and vacation out in LA, and with all the crime and bullshit going on, now it's like people are like, fuck that, bro. Fuck that. I'm gonna stay the fuck away from LA, nigga. Well, like, if I'm gonna go to California, I'm gonna go to like Santa Clarita, one of the nicer areas, San Diego or some shit. Even San Diego is going to shit, bro. Come on, man. Everywhere, we're failing as a country, bro. We're failing as a society. We're failing as a people. We're failing as a race. Everything is going wrong right now. Just try to do better, man. Try to live life for yourself and for your family and your loved ones, and respect everybody, man. I don't need to be killing people out here. Shit ain't cool.
Common, and it's not something that people are necessarily afraid of, because most tourist destinations, Mexico is really beautiful by these beaches, and the surfing there is so amazing that people are kind of willing to do it, even if parts of Mexico you know not to go into because the drug cartel is so bad. They're still very much willing to go into specific areas. Cabo, which is not super far from that area, is a huge thriving tourist destination. So Americans and people around the world tend to still go where they think they are safe because of these tourist destinations. And for the most part, like the vast majority of them are safe and nothing happens.
Yeah.
But we see much more crime and deaths, and I think over 500 Americans are still missing in Mexico. But these things do happen. People are just, willing to still go because, for the most part, it won't be you. But in a situation like this, I mean, these will happen more likely there, unfortunately.
In a statement, the Baja California State Attorney General said, quote, "It should be noted that the rapid intervention of the police allowed 3 people to be under investigation, and currently an arrest warrant was obtained before the criminal courts of the State Superior Court of Justice for the crime of forced disappearance of people." Dina says all those legal proceedings will take place in Mexico.
They would be going through the justice system in Mexico because these are, Mexican citizens, and the crime occurred in Mexico. U.S. would have jurisdiction over it if one of the killers was a United
American.
States citizen. If a United States citizen kills another United States citizen in Mexico, let's say, or a foreign country, then the U.S. could still have, jurisdiction over that. You have personal jurisdiction because you're a U.S. citizen. But here, that doesn't seem to be the case. It seems to be 3 Mexican citizens. And in that case, the U.S. doesn't have any kind of jurisdiction because the crime didn't occur within the boundaries of the U.S., nor did the, assailants have any citizenship in the United States.
A GoFundMe page has been created for both the Robinson brothers and Jack Carter Rode, who was set to be married just this summer.
Damn.
It's so sad seeing
That's sad as
his
fuck.
story and the brothers' stories. You really, they had their life cut short.
Alright, I'm done with y'all motherfuckers. Yeah, RIP, man. RIP to 3 surfers. This shit's hella sad. Like I said before, you don't know what the fuck these people were involved in, what was going on behind the scenes. None of us were there, Only people who know were the 3 fucking suspects and God, bro. So all I gotta say is make sure you are respectful to people, bro. Make sure you're respectful to people. If you don't know somebody, don't fucking be a dick. Because you don't know if they're an asshole or not, bro. Just live life. Treat people how you want to be treated. Man, you'll never have any fucking problems wherever you go. If you're just respectful to everybody and you treat people how you want to be treated, dude, your life is fucking good. Your life will be so much better. Like, it's so annoying to see so many people around this world that are just, like, their default, characteristic is being a fucking dickhead. There's, like, being a fucking asshole to people, or, like, fucking being short, or, like, it's like, come on, y'all. We gotta do better as a people, as a society, as humans, Just love your fellow brother, love your fellow American, your fellow person, man, like your neighbor. Just show respect, bro. If you go to another country, especially if you go to another country, bro, show some respect, man. You don't end up like these motherfuckers, man. But, yeah, thank you for watching. Huey, Deadass Huey, whatever you want to call me, Huey Hooligan, Alex. You guys have a great day, alright? Peace.